Silfab is back in business. Well, sort of. Some things aren't starting up, but even still, neighbors in the area very concerned. We'll explain coming up.
A well-known civil rights attorney now working to find out how a Charlotte 6-year-old suffering could go on for so long.
And they miss these red flags.
The family's demands after 5 reports still didn't trigger action.
Today, Mecklenburg County releases a new report on the I-77 toll expansion, how the environmental findings could impact the project's future.
And costs for Americans are climbing as the conflict in the Middle East escalates.
Why experts say you should expect even bigger impacts to your wallet. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
All right, let's get you out the door. I-485, we have a crash here. Let me take you straight to it. It's where we have stop and go traffic. It is going to be on I-485 as it backs up to I-77. Another one here on Westinghouse Boulevard. That's going to be on exit 1B. So we're seeing a crash there. And then here's the one that I just mentioned. So this is the outer loop of I-485 at Pineville Matthews Road. It's backed up between exit 64 and I-77. So up to exit 67. You can see some of those delays starting to build. That's a live look right now of I-77 there at Arrowwood. Lots going on in that area. We'll have more coming up on WCNC Plus. Chris.
Just letting you know, this is the top. We have the mid-80s today and tomorrow. These are record days. And then widespread rain followed by a cold front will chill us down to the 30s on Friday morning, people. The 70s back this weekend. And we're even talking about back-to-back freezing mornings the middle of the following week. So, yeah, enjoy the 80s.
People have put away their coats and their gloves. You're talking about 30s?
Yeah, no, multiple times.
34, it keeps us humble. You know.
Yeah, something.
Still March.
Right.
All right, make sure you join us streaming live on WCNC Plus. We're there starting at 7 o'clock. Enjoy the day.
streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Great to have you along on this Tuesday morning. We're going to start things off with a check of your forecast because this could also be a record-breaking day for the high. Chris is standing by.
We're doing it. It was on Friday that we broke a record. Now we have a chance of doing it back-to-back days. Today and tomorrow, mostly clear skies, and it's all in all going to be a delightful day. Slight chance for rain by the end of the day. I really think most of us are going to stay dry. 64 degrees, though. That's an amazing start. Still, as we are about 41 minutes away from an official sunrise, we still have a chance to cool down a little bit more. We're starting to see those developing blue skies as we have our nautical twilight going on to the civil twilight. It's about 30 minutes before we get to that sunrise time. 55 degrees around Hickory, did drop down pretty drastically here in Morganton now as you're under mostly clear skies. Our sunrise time officially at 7:41, sunset time, gotta love that, 7:27 with highs in the lower to the mid 80s throughout. So we hit 80 degrees around 2 and we're gonna hold on to 80 up until about 7. So that's gonna be incredible. We had a little bit of rain this morning, some raindrops coming down. Now the last of it is right around Salisbury on I-85, Rowan County, barely a sprinkle in northern Iredell. And now we reset for the next band further off towards the west. I think a lot of this is going to fall apart. We don't really have the right environment that's going to support widespread showers and thunderstorms, but I'm going to show you sometimes the maddening part of meteorology. So check this out. These are the two short-term models that are pretty accurate. Both of them picked up on the morning rain. This one has plenty of sunshine heading our way, and then eventually clouds start to roll in. Here's that chance for rain late day. I'm calling it after 4 o'clock before we start to see it dissipate. Meanwhile, this one is a little bit more aggressive. This one's been a little bit off its rocker at times. Shows a big line of thunderstorms by about 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So what are we going to do here? I'm going to believe the first one over what we're seeing here, but there is a chance that you could have a few heavier downpours after 4 o'clock. Really 4 to 8 looks to be the best opportunity. Not necessarily completely canceling your evening stroll if that's what you've been doing recently. Just letting you know there is that chance. So check your radar app, maybe the WCNC app before you head out. Off towards the west, we do have something a little bit more significant. Check out this mean line of thunderstorms. This is going to be arriving on Thursday morning for us. The timing is in our favor. You don't want one of these in the middle of the afternoon. But regardless, once it gets a little bit close to us, we go from a gentle breeze today to a strong wind tomorrow. So that means tomorrow we're going to have on and off gusts to about 30 miles per hour. Large branches are in motion. Not great for umbrellas. Luckily, we have no rain tomorrow. But at least today is a little bit on the calmer side of things. But it's that stronger wind out of the southwest that's really going to be turning our temperatures up. And some of us are even going to reach the upper 80s. So our best chance for rain is by far Thursday. Thursday morning is where things start to become widespread, and then we start to see a more scattered and likely chance by the end of your Sunday heading into Monday. And that's a series of a couple of cold fronts. So here's the 7-day forecast. I'm going to show you this, and then the next time you see me, I'm going to show you your 10-day forecast, because outside of the 7-day forecast, we kind of start to see a transition to the much colder truth that March can bring. So the mid-80s, then eventually falling through the 60s. 34 on Friday is going to hurt because that is 30 degrees colder than we're at right now. The 70s are a nice little, okay, get ready before we see a bigger drop with more rain on Monday, 63, and eventually highs only in the 40s for St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday. So this is a sneak peek into what's happening for day 8. Also have a closer look what you can expect for rain and storms on Thursday. But let's get our first check of our morning commute with Majestic here on WCNC Plus.
We have our typical delays, but we also have a handful of ongoing concerns. So let's talk about the most important thing first. It's going to be south of Uptown, right here on I-485. Do you see that red here? That's indicating stop and go traffic, where we have very slow moving conditions because of an accident that just happened around 10 to 15 minutes ago. This is I-485, the outer loop at Pineville Matthews Road. Exit 64 is where the crash happened, but right now it's backed up to exit 67. That is past I-77 at this point. So there's the crash. You can see I measured this. This is about a 5-mile backup there. So if you take I-485, specifically the outer loop, make sure you have plenty of time to get to where you need to be today. Another thing that we're watching is I-77 southbound right near Westinghouse Boulevard. This one is likely off to the shoulder at this point. It is just clearing, so starting to see some nice improvements there. Live camera look on this Tuesday morning. This is I-77 near Arrowwood, where conditions are very slow, especially heading towards Uptown. We'll have another check on those roads coming up soon.
Majestic, thanks. Right now we're working to learn more about a stabbing in northwest Charlotte. It happened overnight along Hoskins Mill Lane near Rossell's Ferry Road. MEC says the victim was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. We're hoping to learn more from police later this morning. Well, Silfab solar plant is back open at this hour after both a leak and a spill just days apart. It is important to say, though, both state and federal regulators gave it the green light to reopen.
However, folks in the community are still calling for that plant to close its doors for good. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us live from Flint Hill Elementary School. Of course, that's right near that plant. Richard.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Lisa. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ben. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. For proximity, I'm about 200, 300 yards away from that plant. I'm in front of Flint Hill Elementary School, where you can see the day is just beginning. 7:05 students can start arriving here, but the first bell at 7:35. So we're going to see a lot of activity. Hopefully a lot of activity, a lot of parents, and you can understand a lot of people in the neighborhood very concerned because they know Silfab is back up and running again. Now, while assembly work has restarted at the Silfab solar manufacturing plant here in Fort Mill, there are concerns from nearby residents that they wish this plant had actually gone away. State environmental officials say there's no indication that assembly operations need to remain paused, this after 2 chemical incidents last week. Those incidents included a spill of about 300 gallons of water containing potassium hydroxide, and 2 days later, a slow drip leak of hydrofluoric acid. That's a more hazardous chemical. A new report says the tank containing hydrofluoric acid is still dripping, but the chemical has been neutralized and the company has begun the process of emptying that tank and refilling it into another. Now, the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services says Silfab must hold operations involving that chemical until the company hires a qualified professional engineer with expertise in leak prevention and response. Now, despite these steps, some Fort Mill residents who live near the plant and near, of course, the elementary school say they remain worried about what could happen next after those back-to-back incidents.
So I changed my mind about it since they had that 2 leaks.
It's just horrible, and I don't know why they picked us.
Move, that's what I would do. I'd take my kids and move.
The takeaway is that we're just afraid for the young kids and the parents. You know, it's just terrible. I don't know why they even passed that to come into York County.
Those are questions we'll continue to try to answer and get answered for folks. We can tell you that the chemical work, the working around those chemicals, has not started. Just the assembly process has started. We're right here in Fort Mill. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, thanks. And we should add that last night we received calls from viewers saying they heard alarms coming from Silfab. We have reached out for more information, but have yet to hear back from leaders there. As more information comes into our newsroom, we will keep you updated on WCNC Plus here, as well as on WCNC Charlotte with the latest.
Right now, Matthews police searching for a man who they say assaulted another person and pointing a gun at them. Police say it happened at the In-Town Suites on Independence Boulevard late Sunday night. When officers arrived, the suspect, later identified as Elijah McGriff, ran from the scene. McGriff now has several warrants out for his arrest. If you know where he might be, call 911. In Gaston County, a man wanted for multiple child sex offenses now in jail without bond. Deputies say they arrested 24-year-old Jose Martel Arriaga Friday. He's facing several charges, including sexual exploitation of a minor and solicitation.
7:09 now. Well-known civil rights attorney Ben Crump is joining the family of 6-year-old Dominique Moody, demanding answers about how the little girl's suffering went unnoticed. The girl was found unresponsive in her guardian's home in East Charlotte last December. Authorities say she showed signs of injury, abuse, and severe neglect.
They miss the abuse of this child. They miss the fact that she had bones broken, that she was not going to school, that she was living in a dog cage.
Authorities say they are working to uncover where the system failed. The family says justice means making sure this never happens again. 3 women, including Dominique's legal guardian, Tanya McKnight, now face murder charges for her death.
The U.S. Justice Department says it has reached a settlement in its antitrust case against Ticketmaster and its parent company, Live Nation. Under the deal, Ticketmaster will create a separate ticketing platform allowing companies like SeatGeek and StubHub to sell primary tickets. Live Nation will also sell off some of its venues. State Attorney General Jeff Jackson joined us on WCNC Plus right here, saying the settlement isn't good enough, and it's likely some states will sue again.
Here's what I expect. I think you're going to have a few dozen state AGs, Republicans and Democrats, come together and, in very short order, bring Live Nation and Ticketmaster back to court under the exact same charges and basically say, hey, we appreciate that US DOJ got a deal, but that deal does not go to the root issue, which is the fact that Live Nation and Ticketmaster are combined has allowed them to abuse customers by charging so much for these ticket prices. That is fundamentally an unlawful monopoly, and this deal really doesn't address that.
Catch live interviews with newsmakers just like that one right here on WCNC Plus.
Right now, North Carolina Governor Josh Stein is calling on state lawmakers to pass a critical needs budget. This comes as the state has failed to pass a full budget for nearly 2.5 years. At the news conference Monday, the governor emphasized the importance of raising teacher pay.
We are a bottom 10 state when it comes to public school teacher pay. This critical needs budget would give starting teachers a 13% pay increase, putting us on a path to raise starting teacher pay in North Carolina to the highest in the Southeast.
The governor is also calling for a 10% raise for state troopers, correctional officers, state nurses, and mental health workers. During that announcement, he blamed poor pay in large part for ongoing staffing shortages.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio speaks out on the war in Iran and the safety of Americans. Hear what he has to say coming up next. .714 right now. American leaders are honored U.S. Hostage and Wrongful Detainee Day. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on hand for the raising of the hostage and wrongful detainee flag at the State Department. In his address to mark the occasion, Rubio highlighted Iran as a chief offender when it comes to taking hostages.
The United States is currently engaged in an operation targeting one of the world's leading hostage taker, the world's leading sponsor of terrorism, the regime in Iran. And first, I think we would all take a moment both to offer our thoughts, our prayers, and our condolences, and to honor the families of those who have fallen, the 7 Americans who have lost their lives in the initial hours of this operation.
Rubio also stated the ongoing military campaign against the regime will help keep Americans abroad safe long term.
The 7th fallen U.S. service member in the war with Iran was honored with a dignified transfer ceremony back on U.S. soil. This as President Trump offers mixed signals about how much longer this war will last. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
The 7th American service member killed in action in the war with Iran is now home. Vice President J.D. Vance overnight saluting Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington, who died Sunday from wounds suffered in an Iranian strike on an air base in Saudi Arabia on March 1st. 9 days later, President Trump saying the war may be winding down.
It's going to be ended soon.
Even as he warned of larger strikes if Iran further restricts the critical oil route, the Strait of Hormuz.
We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever.
The war has choked off traffic through the strait. That, paired with strikes on oil sites across the region, sending gas prices soaring here at home.
To fill it up, it brought an extra $15, $20 on the tank.
President Trump telling NBC News by phone that people have talked about the U.S. seizing Iranian oil, but saying he didn't want to discuss it now. He did weigh in on Iran choosing a new supreme leader, the hardline son of the Ayatollah killed in the initial U.S.-Israeli strikes.
I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country.
And amid new video of what weapons experts say is a U.S. Tomahawk missile that likely struck an area near an Iranian elementary school at the start of the war, killing 170 people. President Trump again asserting without evidence that Iran could have fired the missile.
The Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries.
Experts say in this conflict, only the U.S. has that munition. The president adding it's under investigation. New concerns now that rising oil prices will increase costs for plane tickets and for goods shipped by truck, like food, clothing, and furniture. President Trump adamant the oil industry will be more secure in the long term, for now offering to escort oil tankers and provide risk insurance for companies willing to try. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Alex Butterfield, the former White House aide who helped expose a key part of the Watergate scandal, has died at 99. He served as deputy assistant to the president, Richard Nixon, and oversaw a secret taping system in the Oval Office and other locations. In 1973, he revealed the existence of the voice-activated recordings to Congress. Those tapes became crucial evidence in the Watergate investigation and contributed to Nixon's resignation.
7:18 now, a live look at Uptown on this Tuesday morning. When we come back, Chris will have the latest on your WCNC weather impact forecast.
Welcome back, everyone. So today, the slight chance for rain a little bit later on, but it's not as big of a deal as what we have on Thursday. Thursday's the only day that, it's going to rain, especially in the morning, and then by the afternoon, I think things are going to taper off. That's the one that we're keeping an eye on in the short term. Better ingredients, a front rolling in, everything kind of lines up there. And then another front's going to roll in. I told you I'm going to show you the colder truth on that 10-day forecast here shortly, but let's focus in on your Thursday. For number one, we have a lot that's going to happen across the United States. First, starting today, widespread severe weather is going to be the story. First, starting here from St. Louis through Illinois, up through Chicago, and then the northern parts of Indiana. And that looks to be the next high big potential underneath that low pressure system. And then another bullseye down here through Texas and Oklahoma. But of course, that spreads all the way through Arkansas for a medium threat. But going forward over the next 24 hours, that shifts its way off towards the east. Not as great of conditions as what we have today, but still widespread severe weather is possible along that line. But then once it gets a little bit closer to us, which by the way, the western side of the Carolinas Wednesday night into Thursday are under the gun for this, we see this fade out, and it's just a general chance for thunderstorms on Thursday in general. So here's what it looks like. For our futurecast, this yellow line that I have drawn here is the division of, hey, there's better conditions over there for a severe thunderstorm compared to just general thunderstorms here in Charlotte. The Storm Prediction Center, when they release these maps, it usually goes from 8 a.m. one day until 8 a.m. the next. So this technically would be a new map bringing into Thursday, and things could change a little bit later on. But what this is showing is that that line of thunderstorms is weakening. You ideally want a setup like this to arrive before the sun even comes up, because it's actually the most stable part of the day. It's the peak heating of the day where it's already been sunny. It's really mixing the air. It's more unstable. That's what leads to the worst storms, and that's why you're seeing a much higher chance further off towards the west. So this is 8 o'clock, showing active rain and storms potentially through our area, but I want to show you a different look here. This is about 9 o'clock. At this point, I think truly the way it's going to look is you have a wide band of light to moderate rain. However, there oftentimes can be a hidden little line in the middle of all this that could provide some gusty winds and, in the worst case scenario, sometimes a little spin up. I'm not saying that we have that environment here, but it's something that we always have to watch, an embedded QLCS. And then this is so powerful that even the mountaintops are going to change that rain over to snow. By the afternoon, I think things clear out, and then boy, do we see our temperatures dip. So I was mentioning for our 7-day forecast that we are going to see the 80s to the 60s to the 70s to the 60s. But for the 10-day forecast, boy, are we chilling down. One, that cold front that we see on Thursday is going to bring things to 34 on Friday, but here's the cold truth. St. Patrick's Day, Tuesday, 44 degrees. Wednesday, 50, starting off at 29. So we're going to have back-to-back freezing mornings after having multiple mornings starting in the 60s. So yeah, that's not going to be a treat. So enjoy the 80s while we have them. All right, let's get another check at our morning commute. This time, things usually look like Majestic's map right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I want to highlight a few important things, especially if you're gearing up to head out the door. This right here is going to be a slowdown. This is I-77 northbound lanes, specifically at Clanton Road. That's exit 7 where the crash happened. However, we are seeing about a 2 to 3 mile backup of just complete stop and go traffic heading towards Uptown. So Clanton Road, here's one of my live camera shots of it. You can tell those inbound lanes, they're moving, but they're moving even slower than they typically are when there is not a crash. So currently the crash there will back you up a couple of miles if you're taking I-77 inbound. Another important thing is this here. It's going to be this crash out near Pineville. I-485, it's the outer loop at Pineville Matthews Road. Exit 64 backed up to I-77. You can see all of that red there. So definitely make sure you have plenty of time. And then finally, a new crash out there kind of between Mount Morn and Cornelius. This is on I-77 again, southbound lanes just after Langtree Road. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. Before we go to break, we want to wish this guy a happy 32nd birthday, just in case he's watching. Bad Bunny, the Puerto Rican superstar, taking the music world by storm, earning multiple Grammy and Latin Grammy awards. He's known for hit albums, sold out world tours, breaking barriers in Latin music when it comes to mainstream pop culture. Of course, there's also that little performance he did at the Super Bowl.
Oh, that thing?
Oh, yeah, that little thing a few weeks ago. Here's to another year of chart-topping songs and unforgettable performances. Bad Bunny. All right, 7:25 right now. Live pictures over Uptown just before the sun comes up. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
The sun's not up yet, but we're trying. Blue sky is going to be upon us. We did have some passing clouds this morning. Some of us saw a little bit of rain. Now we're taking a big old break. Lots of sunshine to go around. More clouds roll in later on today. Still 64 degrees around Charlotte, 59 degrees around Monroe. It's going to be splendid and high temperatures, record status. All we have to do is get to 82 and it's a record tying day. But we're going to hit 84. 84 across much of the area, even 83 for you around Hickory. Lower 70s, not too bad for you up in the high country. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast, really interesting forecast here because we have the 80s, record breaking, the 60s, widespread rain on Thursday. Thursday morning looks to be the wettest in the near term, and then 34 degrees on Friday, 70s back in action by this weekend. Another chance for rain to end your Sunday heading into Monday. Enjoy the warmer temperature while we have it because they're ending next week. All right, Majestic, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Need to let you know about an important accident before you head out this morning. You can see it's going to be right here. This is I-77, specifically northbound lanes, unfortunately. So if you're heading towards the uptown area, the crash just happened there on Clanton Road. That's exit 7, and it is backed up to at least Tyvola. That's exit 5. You can see slow-moving conditions heading towards uptown. We're going to be covering this for you over on WCNC Plus.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson.
The debate over the I-77 toll lanes is heating up. Today, Mecklenburg County leaders will reveal a report that shows what the expansion could mean for the environment. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us in the studio this morning to break down what's in this report. Destiny.
Mecklenburg County staff from Parks and Recreation, Stormwater Services, and the Air Quality Division will present new information about how the proposed I-77 South toll lanes could impact parks, greenways, waterways, and air quality along the corridor. Here's what their analysis shows. The project could impact 11 parks, including possible changes at Fraser Park, where tennis and basketball courts and a dog park could be affected. And under current design options, Wilmore Park could be eliminated entirely. The expansion could also impact 4 greenways, including Irwin Creek Greenway, and would require moving parts of Irwin Creek while affecting several other streams and wetlands. County staff also say people who live near major roadways are exposed to higher levels of traffic pollution, with data showing fine particle levels about 19% higher near busy roads. Now, as for ways to reduce some of those impacts, they're suggesting porous pavement to help limit pollution and stormwater runoff, and effective roadside barriers in areas with higher health risks. These findings will all be shared during the county's Environmental Stewardship Committee meeting. That's at 12:30 today at the Government Center in Uptown, and it will be open to the public. Ben.
Destiny, thanks. 7:31 right now. This morning, the city of Charlotte moving forward with plans for a commuter rail project. The Red Line would stretch from Uptown to Davidson. Last night, City Council approving nearly $40 million for the next phase of the design process. City Council also approved an extension to an ongoing deal between CATS bus service and Rock Hill. Today, folks, we'll have the chance to learn more about a long-awaited light rail station coming to Southton. We've told you about this. The station will be in between Remont Road and Tremont Ave. Today's virtual meeting, CAT staff will explain how the construction is going to affect people who live around there. You can tune in to the CAT's YouTube page at 12:30.
Right now, an urgent search is underway for a missing teenager in East Charlotte. Take a look at your screen. Police say 18-year-old Chase Thompson was last seen just after 5 last evening near the intersections of Monroe Road and Covedale Drive. He was wearing a black and green hat, a white shirt, and blue jeans. We're told Thompson has a cognitive impairment and could be confused. If you see him, you're asked to call 911. This morning, a woman remains in jail for trying to set a Southwest Charlotte home on fire. Police say Tawny Mara Gabriel dumped gasoline on the side of the home and left a gas can on another side. We're told this happened Sunday on Jacobs Fork Lane near the intersection of South Tryon and West Arrowhead Road. Court documents show the suspect told officers at that scene she planned to burn the house down while the people who lived there were inside. She now faces several charges. And the Statesville woman is behind bars after she tried to hide from police in a pontoon boat. Deputies say Kimberly Beasley had an outstanding fugitive warrant from Virginia and was arrested Saturday in a backyard on Old Moxville Road. Investigators also found meth in a purse at that scene, leading to additional charges, including possession with intent to sell.
Charlotte's own Tommy DiCarlo, the lead singer of the rock band Boston, has died at 60 after a battle with brain cancer. His family says he showed incredible strength and courage throughout his fight. DiCarlo was discovered after posting covers online, launching a nearly 20-year run with the band.
Oh, the NFL's legal tampering window opened Monday at noon. That means it's the unofficial start of free agency. The Panthers wasted no time adding more talent to the team. All right, here are the new Panthers. 27-year-old Devin Lloyd had 5 interceptions in an all-pro season last year. He could be the next great Panthers middle linebacker. Lloyd's pick comes after Carolina agreed to a reported 4-year deal with Jalen Phillips. Phillips was known as a dynamic playmaker for both the Eagles and the Dolphins. Also, Carolina acquired quarterback Kenny Pickett. The former first-round pick in Pittsburgh has bounced around the league a bit and lands in Carolina to potentially serve as a backup for Bryce Young. All right, 7:34 now. Chris, give us an update on our forecast. We're talking about temperatures in the mid-80s again today and tomorrow.
And we got sunshine. Let's enjoy it. No clouds initially today. We will see more clouds that start to roll back in. Our Mrs. Spark Carolina Camera Network bringing the sunshine. Let's do this. 62 degrees is the low for this morning. We are still very close to that sunrise time. Now, officially, it's at 7:35, so we're 6 minutes away. Still could see the temperatures fall a little bit from place to place, but I think Charlotte's already registered its low of around 62. 64, though, that's amazing. And I hate to say it, but we're going to have some days that the high temperature is not going to reach that. So enjoy the warmth while we have it warm again tomorrow. Here's a beautiful shot on top of Charlotte Motor Speedway, just one band of clouds. So sunshine definitely winning out the first part of the day. By the afternoon, more clouds start to add themselves to the equation. I do have a slight chance for rain. Doesn't look to be super crazy, lower to the mid-80s, and yes, as we were mentioning, looking to be a record-breaking day. Here is a look at the last-ditch effort of that rain. We're just seeing a little bit right along I-85, just northeast of Salisbury, pushing out of Rowan County, so we're pretty much ending that chapter for the rain. But we do see more off towards the west. This is an interesting system. I think it's going to really deteriorate as it gets a little bit close to us, but it's still going to be a chance for a little bit of rain later on. Here's what that looks like. This model says, hey, that rain's not happening, bud. Don't worry about it. But this one right here does show that the line stays a little bit more together, especially further off towards the west. So what I've been saying is after 4 o'clock, you could have a brief rain. And this one also shows they could even jog into the early evening hours as well. So keep that in mind. This is going to be a possibility, but most likely it's not going to be a widespread rain event. A lot of us are staying dry. If we look off towards the west, we can see our next big wet weather system. This is arriving on Thursday morning. Thursday looks to be a soaker, and that's going to allow for widespread rain, even some gusty winds, especially heading into tomorrow. We are talking about a windy environment, so wind gusts strong, gusting up to about 30 to 35 miles per hour by the afternoon. Overall, a gentle breeze. And our rainfall chances after Thursday are going to take a break on Friday and Saturday, but now more rain starts to join us later on in the week. So I just want to get down to the nitty gritty of the forecast. I got to be honest with you. Our 7-day forecast, this looks great. By the way, look to the top. I always have our averages. We should be around 62 for an average high, 40 degrees for a low. Well, enjoy the 80s. That's feeling more like June. Enjoy the upper 60s, more like late March heading into April. The 70s, more of an April environment. Well, look where we're going. The opposite direction. 31 and 44 on St. Patrick's Day, 29 and 50 on Wednesday. So back to winter status. Eventually we come back to around that 60 reality by day 10 of the forecast. So plain and simple, what this is telling you is live in the moment. Enjoy the 80s while we have it. Let's see what's happening at the moment with traffic. Good morning.
Good morning. It is busy out there. Let's get a look. Boy, you might have a couple of headaches if you're heading out anytime soon. It's 7:37 right now. This crash here, this is I-77 northbound lanes right at Clanton Road. There's a crash there. That's exit 7, but it's backed up to at least exit 5. Not only is it backed up, we're talking about stop and go traffic. There's a live camera look right around that specific area. Again, this is coming in from Clanton, where at least cars are moving, but they're moving very slowly this morning because of that crash. Next up, we're going to talk about I-485, where we've been seeing this ongoing incident for a while now. It was at a red, meaning stop and go. At this point, it is starting to get a little bit better. It's I-485, the outer loop there at Pineville Matthews Road. It is backed up to I-77 though. Just to the east, again, Pineville Matthews Road, this time at Carmel Road. There's a crash there with stop and go traffic. You can see really starting to expand. And then heading up north, we're talking about up by Lake Norman. This is out by Davidson, Cornelius, up towards Mount Morn. That's where we do have some delays. This is going to be I-77 southbound just after Langtree Road. That's exit 31 there. Finally, the last important thing, I-85 northbound at Peach Orchard Road. That's out by Salisbury, exit 72. A new crash was just reported, but I do have mainly green on my maps right now. Guys.
39 right now. Spring break travel is ramping up. We share what to look out for as you get ready to take off. .41 right now here on WCNC Plus. Now to spring break and travel rush. Things already off to a rocky start as thousands of travelers had to wait in long security lines amid the ongoing partial government shutdown.
NBC's Stephanie Gosk has what you need to know if you are planning a spring break getaway.
As spring break travel ramps up, airports around the country looking to rebound from a buzzkill bottleneck.
You are 3 hours early to the airport, and this is what you get.
This massive line snaking through Louis Armstrong New Orleans International on Sunday, where people were backed up all the way to the parking garage. In Houston, Hobby International warning travelers wait times could exceed 3 hours, forcing some to change their travel plans.
I have never seen the airport so crazy. I am just going to drive.
Airports in Atlanta and Charlotte also seeing lines around an hour long.
We already missed our flight, so now we got to try to figure out what's the next step.
The Department of Homeland Security blaming some delays on the partial government shutdown, saying TSA agents are now set to face their first full missed paycheck, which could lead to crippling staffing shortages.
TSA is going to do their very best to try and keep those lines moving. People should be prepared as this drags out for longer lines.
It all comes as airlines are bracing for a record-breaking spring break travel season, with about 171 million people expected to fly, up 4% from last year. But with the Iran war causing oil costs to soar, jet fuel prices are rising. The price you pay for airfare may soon go sky high. And spring break road trippers will feel the pain at the pump, too.
I don't even want to fill it up.
Still, Americans are on the move, and beaches are bracing for the first wave of spring breakers, including Miami Beach, which went viral with this message in 2024.
We're breaking up with you.
Now the city is relaxing restrictions and rolling back curfews, but it has a clear message for bad breakers.
Bottom line, if you're coming to enjoy Miami Beach responsibly, you're welcome here. If you're coming to break the rules, don't bother.
Hands up, hands down. What was supposed to be a quick flight to the beach turned into a frightening ordeal. A Southwest flight from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale was suddenly diverted to Atlanta Friday night because of what the airline called a possible security issue. That situation escalated quickly, with flight attendants rushing through the aisle and passengers unsure about what was happening.
They were running down the aisle, and I thought to myself, I was like, they really shouldn't run. It makes me feel like something's going on.
Really, like, we went from zero information to just the SWAT team coming on the plane at gunpoint.
Now, when that plane landed, police boarded and removed the passenger as authorities investigated. The FBI later said there was no credible threat and no charges were filed. Southwest also issued a $200 travel voucher to all of those on board. Women are now able to request female drivers on Uber. It's called Women Preferences. The option is available for both the women riders and drivers. And for riders, if the wait time is too long, they can choose a different ride or reserve a trip with a female driver in advance. This option was first launched in a few pilot cities a few months ago. Now it's available nationwide.
All right, take a live look right now at I-77. Granted, yes, it doesn't actually look like that. The camera is just a little overexposed right now. Unfortunately, we don't have any control over it. You can see some decent traffic backups right there at 77 in Clanton. When we come back, Majestic has a look at your traffic impacts this morning.
is now 7:47. We all know about the general lightning that we see when we have storms, of course. But what if we were told that there was rare lightning that we don't typically see?
Chris gives us a look at blue jets and red sprites.
Most likely when you think of lightning, you think of images like this. But what if I told you this isn't the only type of lightning? There are other types called sprites, blue jets, and elves. Let's raise that weather IQ. The common lightning we see is divided into two main types, negative and positive lightning. 90% of all lightning is negative lightning, which comes from the base of a cloud, while the less frequent positive lightning comes from the top of the cloud. Since positive lightning travels a much farther distance to make the channel, it's 10 times stronger, lasts 10 times longer, and can be 10 times louder. But this extra energy can sometimes create something even rarer above the storm. Check this out. This is a blue jet. These cones of blue light erupt upwards from the top of thunderheads to heights as high as 25 miles, as you can see from space here. These are essentially the discharge from a very strong positive lightning strike. Lightning can also appear red. This happens directly above an active strong thunderstorm when a powerful electromagnetic field is created. The imbalance to the top of the atmosphere can cause this phenomenon called sprites. These can sometimes be seen from the ground, but only last a fraction of a second. Lastly, elves occur 60 miles above Earth's surface in the ionosphere, the layer on top of the atmosphere where auroras occur. These create a halo or disk that can reach a diameter of up to 250 miles. Sprites, blue jets, and elves are all TLEs, or transient luminous events. These are fairly new discoveries, first documented in the late 80s to the early 90s. The good news about TLEs, they stay well above us, so no effect to us here on the surface. I'm meteorologist Chris Mulcahy. Now we're all a little bit more weather-wise. So I actually aired that a couple of years ago, but I wanted to bring that back because just recently I have the most impressive image I've seen of a blue jet, which is right here, top of a very strong thunderstorm, and you can literally see the red sprite up above. So if I were to redo that story in 2026, I would be mainly showing this photo. So this officially was captured March 8th, 2026 by NASA from the International Space Station. And this is just incredible because before, a lot of times in our realization of these TLEs, you could see the blue jet and then you would see the red sprites right above. To actually see these all interconnected really gives us kind of a better picture about what happens here, that the top of that positive lightning strike that I was just mentioned turns into that blue area as it's completely illuminated, and then just because they were able to capture the split second, actually see the red sprite that's just above. So maybe if you are not into the whole science thing, you're like, okay, well, real cool, Chris. But if you are, this is actually a really big breakthrough as far as scientists are concerned, seeing the best image that I personally had seen, and I think that NASA has ever captured of a TLE. So very cool. Again, red sprite that you see at the top and that blue jet. That is incredible. It's not something that you see all the time. All right, I want to get right to it. Our 10-day forecast is going to show an eventual cool down here in the short term. But as far as our chances for thunder and lightning, we don't have a tremendous amount going forward. As I mentioned, there is a chance that we could have a stronger thunderstorm getting into your Thursday morning. But I think for the most part, we're going to see mainly just rain, but there's still going to be a possibility. So what I want to show you is the 3-day outlook. This is showing if there's a chance for severe thunderstorms across the Carolinas, and most of the area is just seeing a little bit of that blue further off towards the east. But another example that I was showing you a little bit earlier in our newscast was this map, because a storm prediction center will technically have an 8 in the morning till 8 a.m. the next day. It's a 24-hour period that they're going to have that outlook for what's going to happen. So the big storm system that we're going to see off towards the west tomorrow is going to decay and start to slow down as it gets to us through the overnight heading into Thursday. So what this is showing is that until 8 o'clock, we have a general chance for thunderstorms across the greater Charlotte area. I think that day 3 map is going to be redone, so we're going to have a better example that's going to be happening here. But I think especially closer to the end of our morning commute, and this of course could change, a lot's going to happen. All it has to do is speed up a little bit today and tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about an earlier morning event. But regardless, right around the morning commute, or at least for the middle of the morning, we're going to have a chance for this system to roll on through. I think the better look that we're seeing here is really right at the middle of the morning that we could have some embedded thunderstorms. So I was showing you this earlier. earlier, we easily could have up to at least a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch, depending on how much this is going to dump. But most likely we're going to have some rain, followed by a sliver of some heavier rain embedded in this. This is a classic setup that we usually have here, especially from an overnight event. And then the back edge of the system, because it's so strong and such a powerful cold front, it's quickly dragging in those colder temperatures aloft. So that's going to allow that our mountaintops are potentially going to see some snow. By about 2 p.m. on Thursday, I think pretty much all the rain is clear of our 22 counties that we cover here on WCNC. And then eventually you're going to see that sunshine come out behind it. And that's going to create that very, very cold start on Friday. A 30-degree difference in what we have right now. And really to put it in perspective, it's 64 degrees right now. That's our high on Friday. Luckily, we're back to the 70s on Saturday, and we can talk about the colder truth a little bit later on. All right, that's going to close that weather and TLE book. Let's get over to our morning commute with Majestic.
All right, good morning, everyone. It is 7:53 right now. Multiple ongoing wrecks all across the area. So let's break down a few important ones. This one here, I would say, is going to be the most significant. It's I-77 northbound. Lanes are really backed up. Stop and go traffic at Clanton Road, and we're seeing those delays all the way through around Tyvola. This is Woodlawn right here. You can notice, again, heading toward Charlotte. Lanes are moving, but they're moving even slower than they typically would be, even if there, wasn't a crash there. Once we're heading towards I-485, this one has been ongoing for over an hour, still not completely cleared. However, I'm seeing more yellow. Yellow means that the impacts are becoming less and less. We would rather have yellow than red. This is I-485, the outer loop there at Pineville Matthews Road. Could see some impacts all the way back towards I-77. This one here just cleared. However, those delays are still very evident. Lots of red here. Pineville Matthews Road at Carmel Road. Keep this in mind as it is going to be still a slow going commute.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much for that. Well, today in women's history, we remember Harriet Tubman, who died on this day in 1913. Tubman escaped slavery and went on to become one of the most famous conductors of the Underground Railroad. She helped lead dozens of enslaved people to freedom and later served as a scout and nurse during the American Civil War. Tubman also became an advocate for women's rights later in life. Today, she is remembered as one of the most courageous freedom fighters in American history. All right, time for us to take a quick break, but make sure that you keep it right here on WCNC. Plus, you can see a live look of Uptown. It's the start of a beautiful day. Our temperatures already into the 60s. We'll be right back.
.62 degrees, that's current temperature. Welcome to our lows for the morning. 53 around Hickory, and then we got sunshine. And we'll mix in some clouds on and off throughout the day, but should be a gorgeous one. Happy Mario Day. March 10th is Mario Day. We have temperatures in the lower to the mid 80s throughout the day, and yes, it is going to be a record-breaking Mario Day and a record-breaking March 11th tomorrow. 86 tomorrow. That looks to be the warmest temperature we're going to have for quite some time because temperatures are about to take a dip. 65 overnight tonight, but you have to realize where we're going. We're going to have some warmer mornings going forward, but Friday, we're down to 34. What gives? Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast shows that we have a high of 64 on Friday, which is right around our low right now. Back to the 70s before we see an eventual big cool off heading next week. Majestic?
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. It's a busy start to the day. Let's get to it as we have multiple ongoing wrecks. An important one to know before you head out is going to be right here as we zoom it in. It's I-77, where we actually have a couple of accidents, but this one seems to be the most problematic. I-77 northbound right before Remount Road. That's exit 8, and it is backed up to I-485. We're going to be covering everything for you on WCNC+. We'll see you there soon.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We want to let you know that we are anticipating an update, a briefing from the Pentagon this morning with the ongoing crisis in the Middle East, that war in Iran. As soon as we get that, we will bring it to you live here on WCNC Plus.
In the meantime, we are following news from overnight. A stabbing in northwest Charlotte. It happened along Hoskins Mill Lane near Roslow's Ferry Road. Medic says the victim was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. We're hoping to learn more from police later today. This morning, the Silfab solar plant in Fort Mill back open after both a leak and a spill just days apart. It's important to say both state and federal regulators gave it the green light to reopen.
However, folks in the community are still calling for the facility to close its doors for good. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us live this morning from Plant Hill Elementary. Of course, that school sits very close to the plant. Richard.
Yeah, that school actually sits just a few hundred yards away from that processing facility, Silfab Solar. We can tell you, first of all, good morning to you, Lisa, Ben. Good Tuesday morning, everyone on the Plus. That a lot of folks in this community quite upset because I'll step out of the way, let you take a look. This is the school, and just behind it a little bit, that's where that solar plant is. And that's why people are so upset, especially operations need to remain paused after 2 chemical incidents last week. Those incidents include that spill of about 300 gallons of water containing potassium hydroxide, and 2 days later, a slow leak that they say of hydrofluoric acid. That's a more hazardous chemical. A new report says the tank containing the hydrofluoric acid is still dripping, but the chemical has been neutralized and the company has begun the process of emptying the tank. The South Carolina Department of Environmental Services says that Silfab must halt operations involving that chemical until the company hires a qualified professional engineer with expertise in leak prevention and response. Despite those steps, some Fort Mill residents who live near the plant and near the elementary school say they remain worried about what could happen next after the back-to-back incidents.
So I changed my mind about it since they had that 2 leaks.
It's just horrible, and I don't know why they picked us.
Move, that's what I would do. I'd take my kids and move.
The takeaway is that we're just afraid for the young kids and the parents. You know, it's just terrible. I don't know why they even passed that to come into York County.
Yeah, guys, it is still important to note that while Silfab is back up and operating, not at 100%, because they're not doing anything involving chemicals at this time. Of course, when they do, we'll let everybody know. We're right here in Fort Mill. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, thanks.
We're going to go right now to the Pentagon, where the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is now speaking. Let's listen in.
And the Iranian regime have murdered our brothers in arms. My guys, your guys, our guys, through their terrorist proxies and cowardly attacks. Now they race toward a nuclear bomb to hold the world hostage. The Iranians have targeted and killed thousands of my American brothers. That race to a nuclear bomb, President Trump will never allow it. Not now, not ever. Not on our watch. The mullahs are desperate and scrambling. Like the terrorist cowards they are, they fire missiles from schools and hospitals, deliberately targeting innocents, because they know their military is being systematically degraded and annihilated. Iran's neighbors, and in some cases former allies in the Gulf, they've abandoned them. And their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas, either broken, ineffective, or on the sidelines. Iran stands alone, and they are badly losing. On day 10 of Operation Epic Fury, we are winning, with an overwhelming and unrelenting focus on our objectives, which are the same as the day I gave my first briefing here on Operation Epic Fury. They're straightforward, and we are executing them with ruthless precision. 1, destroy their missile stockpiles, their missile launchers, and their defense industrial base. Missiles and their ability to make them. 2, destroy their navy. And 3, permanently deny Iran nuclear weapons forever. It's a laser-focused, maximum authority mission delivered with overwhelming and unrelenting precision. No hesitation, no half measures. As President Trump declared yesterday, we're crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force. We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated. But we do so on our timeline and at our choosing. For example, today will be yet again our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes. Intelligence more refined and better than ever. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, the last 24 hours have seen Iran fire the lowest number of missiles they've been capable of firing yet. Just the bifurcation, just the trend lines that we talked about on our first briefing. You see, this is not 2003. This is not endless nation building under those types of quagmires we saw under Bush or Obama. It's not even close. Our generation of soldier will not let that happen again, and nor will this president, who very clearly ran against those kinds of never-ending, nebulously scoped missions. Those days are dead. Instead, we're winning decisively with brutal efficiency, total air dominance, and an unbreakable will to accomplish the president's objectives on our timeline. We stay locked on the target because here at the Department of War, that's our job. Now, the chairman and I, having just returned from Dover last night, our troops and their families and the enormous sacrifice that they make is certainly heavy on my mind. So I'll close with scripture, drawing strength from Psalm 144. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. He is my loving God and my fortress, my stronghold and my deliverer, my shield, in whom I take refuge. May the Lord grant unyielding strength and refuge to our warriors, unbreakable protection to them and our homeland, and total victory over those who seek to harm them. And amen. God bless our troops and this mission. Mr. Chairman, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm here today to continue the updates to the American people and to those in the room on Operation Epic Fury. First, let me start with honoring our fallen. As the Secretary said, on Saturday and again last night at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, our nation's leaders honored our returning fallen as they arrived home for their final time. Last week I shared a few of the names, and today I want to share the rest. Major Jeffrey O'Brien and Chief Warrant Officer 3 Robert Marzan were the final two fallen to return home and members of the U.S. Army Reserve's 103rd Sustainment Command out of Des Moines, Iowa. Last night, as the news has been reporting, we honored the return of Staff Sergeant Benjamin Pennington of the U.S. Army's 1st Space Brigade from Fort Carson, Colorado. When I met Ben's family last night, his mom, his dad, and his sister, they showed me a picture, a drawing that Ben had made when he was in kindergarten. It was clear all the way back then that Ben wanted to do one thing in his life, and he wanted to serve his country and be a soldier. And to the Penningtons, just know how Ben was absolutely a great one. And finally, Major Sorfleet Davies, who returned home this weekend after sadly passing away from a medical condition while on duty in Kuwait. We welcome him home as well and mourn with his family. To the families and the families of all of our fallen, we share in your profound grief. The Joint Force remains eternally grateful for your sacrifice and the gift of a great example that your service members have given all of us. I want you to know that their names will never be forgotten, and you and your family are part of our Joint Force family forever. Let me talk a little bit about the progress thus far, acknowledging that Admiral Cooper will likely continue to give updates from CENTCOM. As the Secretary said, we're in the 10th, moving into the 11th day of Operation Epic Fury. The Joint Force remains focused on 3 military objectives. Continue to destroy Iranian ballistic missiles and drone capability in order to prevent attacks on the U.S. and others throughout the region. And this means attacking launch sites, command and control nodes, stockpiles before they can threaten our personnel, our facilities, and our partners. Second, we continue to strike the Iranian Navy and their capabilities in order to do things like sustain movement through the Straits of Hormuz. And third, we continue to start working on and going deeper into Iran's military and industrial base in order to prevent the regime from being able to attack Americans, our interests, and our partners for years to come and project power outside their borders. This means servicing production facilities, research and development sites, and infrastructure. Let me turn to the map. We're going to try digital today to prevent laser injury. Since our last update, CENTCOM continues to make progress across the southern flank. To date, they've struck more than 5,000 targets. U.S. Strategic Command bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound GPS penetrating weapons on deeply buried missile launchers across the southern flank. We also have struck several one-way drone factories to get at the heart of their autonomous capability. And of course, alongside our regional partners along the southern flank, continue to execute intercepts against one-way attack drones using fighters and attack helicopters. Our strikes mean we've made significant progress in reducing the number of missile and drone attacks out of Iran. Ballistic missile attacks continue to trend downward, 90% from where they've started, and one-way attack drones have decreased 83% since the beginning of the operation. A testament to our air defenders and our air defense systems, and as I said, our partners in the region continue to do great work as well. Second, we're making substantial progress towards destroying the Navy. In the first 10 days of the conflict, we're more than 50 Iranian naval ships into the campaign using a combination of artillery, fighters, bombers, and sea-launched missiles. As Admiral Cooper noted last Thursday, we struck and sank an Iranian drone carrier ship, and U.S. CENTCOM continues today to hunt and strike mine-laying vessels and mine storage facilities. This work will continue. Third, against our objectives, we've begun to target Iran's military and industrial complex, again, focusing on centers of gravity to get upstream of the shooters out in the field in order to deny them the ability to continue to generate those one-way attack drones. Let me spend a minute talking about the Joint Force. Across the area of responsibility, this is gritty and tireless work, and I cannot begin to explain how incredibly proud I am of the extraordinary courage, tenacity, and grit and professionalism within the Joint Force. Last time I had a chance to talk about the Army's incredible logisticians who are out there sustaining the fight. Today I want to highlight a few groups of sailors. First, I want to thank the men and women of the Ford Carrier Strike Group and their families, and let all of them know how grateful I am for their leadership and service. The crews on board this strike group have already been endured months at sea only to get their deployment extended. These exceptional Americans, rogered up, all supported by their families, continue to stand the watch, taking the fight to the enemy over and over again, night after night. Aboard ships like the USS Ford and the Abraham Lincoln are a special group of sailors I want to highlight today. These are the men and women, the sailors up on the roof running operations on the flight deck. With an average age of the early 20s, these are the unsung heroes of naval aviation. These young sailors, known for wearing yellow shirts, are in charge of the catapults, taxiing jets around on the flight deck, shooting jets off the front end, and recovering jets off the back end. They are literally involved with every single movement on the roof on an aircraft carrier. They are the last ones that a naval aviator sees before getting shot off the front end, and the first one that a naval aviator sees after safely trapping on the back end. And just for a minute, imagine you're standing on that aircraft carrier flight deck. There's 30 knots of wind in your face. The deck is slippery, covered in grease. It's noisy. There are propellers spinning. There's jet blast everywhere. The helicopters are running. Your head is on a swivel, and you're trying to direct a multi-million-dollar fighter into a 1-foot square box so that those naval aviators can be shot off into the black of night to go do America's work. Those jets are fully loaded with missiles and bombs, and they are a world-class team combined with the naval aviation and the aviators in those jets. This beautiful symphony of American spirit is the definition of perfectly organized chaos, and these crews do it every single time the carrier is at work. Oh, by the way, in the middle of the night and oftentimes in the pouring rain. These are dedicated young people who take the road less traveled to serve their great nation, doing the deeds that we need them to do. America's enlisted force is the pride of every nation's military, certainly ours, and the envy of every other one as well. Each and every one of them out there across the Joint Force are extraordinary, and in particular today I want to highlight the yellow shirts. Ladies and gentlemen, our work continues. It'll continue to be difficult. I ask every American to keep our deployed force and their families in our thoughts. Combat deployments can be tough on the force and the families, and it's important that we continue to remember that. I remain deeply humbled by the 2.8 million members of the Joint Force, and I'll end where I started, and that's remembering our fallen and their families whose sacrifice will be felt forever. And with that, I'll take some questions with the Secretary.
A beautiful symphony of American spirit. Well said, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, sir.
And I will just note that no other country in the world is capable of executing what the chairman just described, day after day, night after night, unrelenting. Well said. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Alexandra Ingersoll, One America News. You talked, Mr. Secretary, you talked at the conference in Florida on Thursday that there was a 90% missile capabilities degradation and 83% drone degradation, and I know the chairman just repeated those numbers. We've seen the most amount of fighting these past 5 days. Is there any update to those percentages? And also, are you able to give any quantification of degradation to the enemy's nuclear capabilities yet?
What those numbers represent is a persistent low ability to respond, which is what we're looking for, right? It's if the enemy can simply wait and then project power, that's problematic. And we've seen some spurts here or there, but ultimately the trend lines, if you look at the charts that we look at every day, have gone like this down to a flat. It doesn't mean they won't be able to project. It doesn't mean our air defenders still don't have to defend. They do, but that is strong evidence of degradation, along with the battle damage assessment that the Joint Staff does, which takes time. You've got to look at imagery and recognize whether something's been simply degraded or it's been destroyed, or whether an underground facility has been collapsed or completely obliterated. So there's differences in how you evaluate that, but the numbers staying that low is a demonstration of the efficacy for sure. Yeah, Ryan.
Thanks, Mr. Secretary. There's been reports that the new leader of Iran has been wounded. Do you know if this is true and what his condition is? And then another one, President Trump said he had a really good call with President Putin yesterday. Will Russia be aiding us in this conflict, and can you share anything on that?
Well, the president, as I've said before, maintains strong relationships with world leaders, which creates opportunities and options for us in very dynamic ways. So the president said it was a good call. I was not on it, but those that were said it was a strong call, reaffirming hopefully the opportunity for some peace in Russia-Ukraine, and also a recognition that as it pertains to this conflict, they should not be involved. The first question was?
On the new leader of Iran, there's reports that he's been wounded.
Oh, the new leader of Iran. He would be wise to heed the words of our president, which is to not pursue nuclear weapons and come out and state as such. As far as his status, that's not something I can comment on right now. Yeah, right here.
Great. Mr. Secretary, Eric Schmidt with the New York Times. A question for you first. Last week you talked about this being the beginnings of an air campaign that could last 3 to 8 weeks. Can you give us your assessment on where we are now? And Mr. Chairman, in any conflict, the enemy or the adversary adapts to the tactics it faces. Can you talk about the most challenging adaptation the Iranian military has made to the U.S. military? What challenges are you facing most right now? Thank you.
I appreciate the question. Where we are is in a very strong place, giving the President of the United States maximum options. And from the beginning, from this podium, we haven't stated how long it will take. Our will is endless. Ultimately, the President gets to determine the end state of those objectives, right? But what he's said continually, and I want the American people to understand, is this is not endless. It's not protracted. We're not allowing mission creep. The President has set a very specific mission to accomplish. And our job is to unrelentingly deliver that. Now, he gets to control the throttle. He's the one deciding, he's the one elected on behalf of the American people when we're achieving those particular objectives. And so it's not for me to posit whether it's the beginning, the middle, or the end. That's his, and he'll continue to communicate that. What we serve him as is we give him updates on a daily basis of exactly where we are so he can make that determination on the throttle. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the question on adaptation. As you're right, no plan survives first contact with the enemy or Murphy. They're adapting, as are we. Of course, we have very entrepreneurial warfighters out there. I'd rather not, for operational security reasons, tell them what's working. So I'm going to not answer that question based on that. But we are watching what they're doing, and we are adapting faster than they are.
Are they more formidable than you anticipated, General?
I mean, I think they're fighting, and I respect that, but I don't think they're more formidable than what we thought.
Secretary Arzate, thank you. Jordan Conrad's from the Gateway Pundit. Axios reported, citing U.S. and Israeli sources, that the U.S. was not happy with strikes on 30 fuel depots in Iran. While this is anonymous sourcing, it seems kind of congruent with what President Trump said yesterday, that there's certain spots they don't want to hit relating to energy infrastructure that would take a long time to rebuild. And whether this reporting is true or not, what's your message to Americans, those who supported the president and those who aren't really in favor of this war and who worry that Israel might be taking advantage of the U.S.'s backing? And then for Mr. Chairman, for you, I wanted to ask, when you say that we're moving inland, what capabilities does Iran have to shoot down jets over their land? And would that trigger some kind of rescue operation that could risk a bigger ground operation?
Well, I would just state by saying Israel's been a really strong partner in this effort. Where they have different objectives, they've pursued them. Ultimately, we've stayed focused on ours. But what Iran has felt is the power of the world's two most powerful air forces. In that particular case, those weren't our strikes or that objective, or that wasn't necessarily our objective. But the president has made it clear to those concerns that we're not getting pulled in any direction. We're leading. The president is leading. He's determining where we want to go, what the outcome will be, what the end state is, with a very keen eye. And I understand those concerns because I've heard from a lot of people who I went through 20 years of those wars myself. Worried about getting dragged in, worried about mission creep, worried about nation building or democracy expansion. That's never the perspective the president has pursued on this. Just because previous presidents and previous secretaries have decided to just pour more resources and more people in toward some unguided end state, doesn't mean that's the way the world needs to look today. In fact, the American people voted for a different approach. But what the president also stated from the beginning was Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. And it's one thing to say it. It's easy to say. Anybody can say that. I mean, Barack Obama said that. But to do something about it takes courage and resolve. But in that courage and in that resolve, you can also be very scoped in what you're trying to execute to ensure that the sacrifice of Americans, American treasure, American lives, all of those properly meet the objective that you're trying to accomplish. And certainly, as someone I talked out front about what the Iranians have done to our generation, yes, we're clear-eyed about it. But my job is to keep it scoped, given the directive of the president to accomplish the mission.
Thank you for the question. Most of their higher-end surface-to-air missile systems are not factors at this point in time. We're able to move around fighters that are moving deeper with relative.
You've been listening to the folks there at the Pentagon update us on the latest on the situation there in Iran. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We've got to take a quick break, and we'll have another check of your morning commute and weather after this.
Well, good morning to you. 62 degrees right now. Seeing some sunshine off in the distance. It's going to be a pretty decent day. Slight chance for a little bit of rain to end the day. And elsewhere, 53 around Lincolnton, 59 around Gastonia. So most of the area a little bit cooler than where we were yesterday. 84 for a high today. So that was going to be right around record status. Nowhere near the normal. We're 22 degrees above that. And I'll mix in some clouds throughout the afternoon. A slight chance for a rain shower, I would say really after 4 o'clock, but most of us staying dry. Got to be real with you. Things are about to get a lot cooler. 86 tomorrow, so another record day. Then we have the 60s, the 70s, and look at that. Next Tuesday is St. Patrick's Day, by the way, only a high of 44, and here's the rough cool down. 34 degrees for a low on Friday, and then right around freezing on Tuesday and Wednesday, so don't put away those heavy coats yet. All right, Majestic, take it away.
Lots of ongoing crashes as we're looking at our Tuesday morning commute. Let's get you straight to I-77 here where we're following an accident. It's impacting northbound lanes right before Remount Road. We're seeing those backups from exit 8 all the way to I-485. Another crash here on I-77 northbound again here at Tyvola Road. If you take I-485, a new accident just reported on the outer loop out towards Johnston Road. More on WCNC Plus.
Thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8:30 on this Tuesday morning. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson.
The debate over the I-77 toll lanes is heating up. Today, Mecklenburg County leaders will reveal a report that shows what this expansion could mean for the environment. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us in the studio this morning to break down what's in this report. Destiny.
That's right. Mecklenburg County staff from Parks and Recreation, Stormwater Services, and the Air Quality Division will present new information about how the proposed I-77 South toll lanes could impact parks, greenways, waterways, and air quality along the corridor. Here's what's in their analysis. The project could impact 11 parks, including possible changes at Fraser Park, where tennis and basketball courts and a dog park could be affected. And under current design options, Wilmore Park could be eliminated entirely. The expansion could also impact 4 greenways, including Irwin Creek Greenway, and would require moving parts of Irwin Creek while affecting several other streams and wetlands. County staff also say people who live near major roadways are exposed to higher levels of traffic pollution, with data showing fine particle levels about 19% higher near busy roads. Now, as for ways to reduce some of those impacts, they're suggesting two big things: porous pavement to help limit pollution and stormwater runoff, and effective roadside barriers in areas with higher health risks. These findings will be shared during the county's Environmental Stewardship Committee meeting at 12:30. That's at the Government Center in Uptown, and it is open to the public. Ben.
Destiny, thanks. This morning, the city of Charlotte moving forward with plans for a commuter rail project. The red line would stretch from Uptown to Davidson. Last night, City Council approving nearly $40 million for the next phase of the design process. It also approved an extension to the ongoing deal between Katz Bus Service and Rock Hill. Today, you have the chance to learn more about the long-awaited light rail station we've told you about coming to South End. It's going to be located between Remount Road and Tremont Avenue. During today's virtual meeting, Katz will lay out the construction process and what it means for folks living around there. You can tune in on the Katz YouTube page at 12:30.
An urgent search is underway for a missing teenager in East Charlotte. Take a look at your screen. Police say 18-year-old Chase Thompson was last seen just after 5 last evening near the intersection of Monroe Road and Covedale Drive. He was wearing a black and green hat, a white shirt, and blue jeans. We're told Thompson has a cognitive impairment and could be confused. If you see him, you should call 911. This morning, a woman remains in jail for trying to set a Southwest Charlotte home on fire. Police say Tani Mara Gabriel dumped gasoline on the side of the home and left a gas can on another side. We're told it happened Sunday on Jacobs Fork Lane near the intersection of South Tryon and West Arrowhead Road. Court documents show the suspect told officers at that scene she planned to burn the house down while the people who lived there were inside. She now faces several charges. And a Statesville woman is behind bars after she tried to hide from police in a pontoon boat. Deputies say Kimberly Beasley had an outstanding fugitive warrant from Virginia and was arrested Saturday in a backyard on Old Moxville Road. Investigators also found meth in a purse at that scene, leading to additional charges, including possession with intent to sell.
Charlotte's own Tommy DiCarlo, the lead singer of the rock band Boston, has died at the age of 60 after a battle with brain cancer. His family says he showed incredible strength and courage throughout that fight. He was discovered after posting covers online, launching a nearly 20-year run with that band.
The NFL's legal tampering window opened Monday at noon. So what's that mean? It's the unofficial start to free agency. And the Panthers wasted no time to add more talent to the team. Here are the new Panthers. 27-year-old Devin Lloyd had 5 interceptions in an all-pro season last year. He could be the next great Panthers middle linebacker. Lloyd's pick comes after Carolina agreed to a reported 4-year deal with Jalen Phillips. Phillips was known as a dynamic playmaker for both the Eagles and the Dolphins. Also, Carolina acquired quarterback Kenny Pickett. The former first-round pick in Pittsburgh has bounced around the league a bit, but lands in Carolina to potentially serve as a backup for Bryce Young. All right, 8:34 now. Chris joins us again with another update on our forecast. Still feeling good, still in the 60s.
Yeah, feeling good. And I'm just letting you know, before you know it, next week, we're not even going to have highs reaching this number on some of the days. So take advantage of the warmer mornings and certainly the warmer afternoons while we have them, because the temperatures we're going to have over the next couple of days, the lower to the mid 80s, more typical for early June or late May. Not so much the first half of March. But hey, we'll take it. It's great. By the way, happy Mario Day. Let's see if I can try to do this. Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. As you can see, temperature is going to be right around 80 to 81 degrees, but really it's 80 to 84 across this. So let's go. It's going to be a pretty decent day. You're going to have that hot sun up above mixing in with some clouds. Hopefully it's not that angry, though. It's going to be a great day. By the way, it's Mario Day. And the reason why, it's March 10th. If you look closely, it looks like Mario. And that's the whole reason why. The Day Show literally just had Princess Peach, Bowser, and a bunch of other characters. And also the new Mario movie is coming out later on this year. Our high temperature trend, though, boy, is this going to be an interesting one. We have 84 today, 86, and this is what weather does. But if you look at it, you wouldn't invest in this because it's just a downward trend. I do think that we start to come back up in the right direction, but overall, our extended forecast, even the 8 to 14 day outlook, is looking to be a little more cooler or normal than it is above average. And I think by the back end the last week of March, things start to get a lot more above normal. But look at that. We have dropped down. It is 69, then 64, the 70s, then eventually you're going to see a shift to 44 degrees on St. Patrick's Day, which is going to start off cold. So those that want to spend most of the day outside, It's not going to be like it is today, nor like the next couple of days. Also, tomorrow morning and Thursday morning going to be very mild, only dropping down to the mid-60s. And again, some of our lows, highs that you just saw aren't going to reach that range. Back to 34 degrees. Yep, Friday is going to be really a big shock and awe to the system overall. We'll see a little bit of a comeback for our lows to back around 60 degrees. But yeah, back-to-back freezing days for your Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. And then eventually we start to warm up through the 30s. It's just really tough. I love these unseasonably warm-ups, but they're kind of mean because once you start getting back to what March does and a little bit more spring-like temperatures, you're like, oh, yeah. I forgot about this. Let's talk about rain chances. Our next big rain chance that we're going to have is on Thursday. Today, you barely have a little chance. I think you could have a little activity by the back end of the day. But the rain that we're going to see on Thursday is definitely going to be the most prevalent. I'm talking about widespread hours of rain, possibly right around your morning commute. This timing, I think, is going to fluctuate by a couple of hours, but it is showing that there could be some pretty decent storms within this line. So it's going to rain for sure. Have the umbrella. I think it's more poncho or at least the rain jacket type of weather to start off your Thursday. Eventually gets out of here, racing off towards the east, drying things out for the afternoon. But yeah, it could be an interesting start to your Thursday. I think most of the severe weather will remain off to the west outside of the Carolinas, but there is a chance for a strong thunderstorm or two along that line. After that, we feel that chill. I already showed you 34 degrees on Friday, 64, and then the 70s this weekend. If I would have to choose, Saturday by far is the pick of the weekend because clouds and rain start to roll in by the back end of your Sunday, starting the cool down into next week. All right, let's see what's going on for our morning commute. Majestic, what's the stats?
I-77 still has some issues, so let's get straight to an important accident. It's going to be right here, zooming it in. We're starting to see even actually worse conditions, both northbound and southbound lanes. This accident specifically, though, will be impacting the northbound lanes just before Remount Road. We're seeing delays from there all the way down to I-485. Second crash here on I-77, again northbound here at Tyvola Road, that's exit 5. So again, two back-to-back crashes on I-77. It is going to slow you down if you're trying to make that inbound commute. This is also important. I-485, this is the outer loop just after Johnston Road. That's exit 61. It is backed up to Pineville Matthews Road. So right around exit 64, you can see those delays really building. It's a combination of our typical morning traffic and then again, and when there's a crash on I-485, it's really not the best place to be. It's going to be slow moving. Wilkinson Boulevard inbound approaching Old Steel Creek Road, an ongoing crash. You can see the backup there. That's a newer one. So those are a few important things you need to know before you go. Here's one of my live cameras. This is coming in on I-77 near Clanton. It does look better. At least those lanes are moving better than it was just about 10 minutes ago. We'll have another check on everything else I'm watching for you coming up shortly.
The art of content creating is becoming easier by the day. We're going to show you a new app that helps creators earn more. Approaching 8:42 now, a new survey from the Allstate Foundation and Gallup found that many young people are still giving back to their communities. The study shows about 80% of people ages 12 to 25 have taken part in some form of volunteering or community service. Researchers say younger generations often help in less formal ways, like donating items or helping others with everyday tasks. About 70% said they helped someone at least a few times in the past week. Experts say these findings show that young people still value service, even if it looks different from traditional volunteering.
A new app tapping into the growing gig economy by connecting businesses and organizations with on-demand social media creators. The platform, called Social Agent, lets users request a content creator who can arrive quickly to shoot photos and video for social media. Creators typically film events, edit the footage, and deliver a finished post that same day.
What I look for when I'm shooting events is very crisp and clean content. I think I'm gonna give this reel like a really peaceful, calming feel, but also informative and inviting.
Supporters say the service is cheaper and more flexible than hiring a full-time social media manager. The company says the goal is simple: let anybody, somebody else, capture the moment so others can stay focused on the actual experience.
Reality star and entrepreneur Paris Hilton is launching a new fund to help women-owned small businesses recover after disasters. The effort follows the devastating 2025 wildfires in Los Angeles that destroyed homes, businesses, including Hilton's own house. She is donating $350,000 to start the Back in Business Recovery Fund with the goal of raising at least $1 million. The program will provide grants to women entrepreneurs trying to rebuild after disasters.
A research center in Charleston is in the midst of an effort to find the names and the stories of millions of people who were enslaved.
Maya Brown reports from Mother Emanuel, a church with a rich legacy, part of the 10 Million Names Initiative.
A nationwide program is searching for the 10 million names of people who were enslaved in the U.S. across almost 3 centuries. And the Avery Research Center in Charleston is helping add names to that list. Part of that search includes archives and documents found at the oldest AME church in the South, Mother Emanuel AME Church.
You're going to find things about the ministry. There may be things about baptisms, things about burials, just all of the archives of the church.
Over 200 years of history providing clues to names of the enslaved and the lives they lived. Archivists and historians say it also provides the church an opportunity to tell a story not rooted in tragedy and death, but one of life.
The story of Mother Emanuel is so broad and just tales of fortitude and community. So we get to bring color to, Mother Emanuel. We get to bring life into those discussions and show the full history of Mother Emanuel.
And not just the full history of the church, but of all the enslaved. A history experts say was deliberately obscured, altered, or never even recorded, making it hard for Black Americans today to know where they came from.
I have that kind of gap that I don't know where, family trees align and all that, but I think if I can be a part of someone else finding that and just connecting those dots with something that may have been more obscure that I'm bringing to light, that's really important.
Connecting dots will lead to connecting living descendants with their family history all through a publicly accessible database.
Often people will come back and say, my great-great-grandmother was buried in a cemetery here, but I don't know where, and they don't know where to start. But it should at least give them a platform to start that research so that these people are never forgotten.
10 million names. It's an effort between research centers like Avery, Black churches like Mother Emanuel, and other historical organizations, all with the want to know the names, origins, and life stories of one's ancestors. And it's a feat project leaders say will help the country learn from its past.
Maya Brown reporting for us there. For more information on the project, you can visit 10millionnames.org.
Have you already had your morning coffee? Maybe your morning espresso? Well, that is my question today for your morning trivia. What does espresso literally mean? Is it A, get faster, B, pressed out, C, I'm intense, or D, on the go? The answer after the break. All right. So the question that I asked you was about coffee. Now here it is. Where did my question go? Let me back up here. All right, there it is. What does espresso literally mean? Is it A, get faster, B, pressed out, C, I'm intense, or D, on the go? What do you two think?
I don't know. It's what I do at 6:40 every morning, but maybe B, pressed out?
Yeah, I'll go with B, pressed out.
You are correct. That is right. Yeah, I just learned this. It's all about the process, even though whenever I drink it, I'm saying I'm intense. So that's why they don't let me have those too often here in the studio, or at least there's a warning that comes along with it. Here on Satellite and Radar, we've had some rain that pushed through, and then you have this one little storm system that likely is going to start to meander its way down towards the south. So Majestic and I were just talking about this. I think it's going to be an interesting that you're going to have a split between these two models. The HRRR used to be my best friend, but it has been kind of unreliable recently, but this one I think is grasping the atmospheric conditions a little bit better. Truly, once you get into severe weather season, it usually has a better history, but there's a chance that we could have a shower or even a pop-up storm. I've really been saying after 4 o'clock looks to be the magic window, so just note that's going to be a possibility heading in the evening. But the problem is also a chance that since the dew points are so dry right now that there's not going to be necessary storm fuel like what we have further off towards the west. I think it gets a lot better by tomorrow. So there's also a scenario that you're seeing here that you still see the rain. It's just not as intense. But I definitely think south and southwest that you're going to have a chance for a developing shower or storm as that little trough is starting to move through. But the big story is going to be this, that line of showers and storms further off towards the west, especially through Kentucky and right here around Tennessee. It's that cold front that's going to drive into us, and that's what's going to give us our big rain. It's mainly going to be a Thursday morning event. In the meantime, strong winds out of the southwest. It's going to be a super windy day tomorrow. That's going to allow temperatures to reach the mid 80s to even the upper 80s, depending in certain locations. Like I'm literally talking about some areas in South Carolina that have enough strength to get that sunshine to get to around 90 degrees. So a gentle breeze is possible for today. Strong winds for tomorrow as that starts to get closer and closer. But our rainfall chances widespread for your Thursday morning. That looks to be the big one as that gets a little bit closer, and then scattered to likely chance for rain on Sunday heading into Monday overall. So here is the big deal. The most likely that we're going to have severe storms and numerous reports is going to be along this line that yet again you have a little core underneath that low to the north and then right down here through the south in Oklahoma and Texas. This line pushes its way further off towards the east, just barely putting us into a weak zone for a chance for a morning storm heading into Thursday. But truly, these type of lines can be sneaky. Now, it just depends on when it's going to arrive. But this model right here is showing that we could have some active thunderstorms right when the sun is rising up on Thursday. I think this one really tells a better tale of what's going to be happening. Well, actually, the model data just dropped off on there. But it was showing widespread precipitation that is actually allowing for a much better likelihood that you'll see about the middle of the morning, talking about anywhere from 7 to 10 for a stronger thunderstorm embedded with some light to moderate rain. Once that clears, it's going to be a stronger cold front. Those cold fronts are going to be picking up the winds out of the colder direction. That's why it's 34 degrees on Friday, 70s for the weekend. Saturday, by the way, is the pick of the weekend. And then more rain starts to roll in. Winds pick up as another cold front will eventually cool us down heading into the middle of next week. St. Patrick's Day likely not getting above 50 degrees. All right, one more time here on WCNC Plus. Majestic has an update on your morning commute.
Let's do a good Tuesday morning, everyone. If you're just waking up and turning on the stream before we let you go right here, a couple things to let you know about. This is Remount exit at mile marker 8 out on I-77. Traffic seems to be flowing okay, but still a handful of ongoing issues. This crash is still not cleared, but they have pushed it over to the shoulder. It's I-77 northbound just before Remount Road. To the south, our second crash here on I-77. That one is there on Tyvola, and I do still see some delays building with that. Then this is a newer one that just popped up about 5 minutes ago. It's on South Boulevard, inbound lane specifically, right before Arrowwood Road. So that'll maybe add on just a couple of extra minutes for your morning commute. And then I-485, the outer loop, it is clearing. We don't have that stop and go traffic, but it's not completely done yet. All right, Larry, we're ready for our Tuesday Tailwagger.
Hi, this is Sprinkle time for our Tuesday Tail Wagger along with our friends at Animal Care and Control. Last week we featured James, and James, that treadmill loving dog, is still there, still available at Animal Care and Control. Let's bring on Cookie. Hard to believe, but Cookie is 10 years old. You would never know it. She weighs right around 70, 75 pounds. There is no adoption fee. Cookie is house trained, crate trained, a happy dog, great on a harness. Probably better if she's the only dog in the household, but what a great pet to have. This is Cookie, available at Animal Care and Control, open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, both days, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The star of the day, she's cool. That's Cookie, our very special Tuesday Tail Wagger.
All right, Larry, thanks so much. Well, March is Women's History Month. Today, we recognize Kent Campbell, whose 79th birthday is today. In 1993, Campbell made history when she became the first and only woman to serve as Prime Minister of Canada. She led the country for several months after taking over the leadership of the Progressive Conservative Party. Campbell's rise to the nation's top office marked a major milestone for women in Canadian politics.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll have more from our live Impact studio. Somebody's going to be in there. They're getting ready. Jane's going to be there momentarily. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Good day, good day. Look at that, it was beautiful Carolina blues, right? Temperatures right around 63 degrees starting our warm up. It's going to be a great day, a record. We're talking about high temperatures. They're going to be right around 84 degrees, which, by the way, happy Mario Day, March 10th. Temperatures in the lower to the mid 80s up to about 84 degrees. That is right. And 86 by tomorrow. We're ending the day with a chance for a shower or thunderstorm really after 4 o'clock. And a good portion of staying dry, but there will be scattered here and there. But the big rain, that's going to be Thursday morning, widespread rain. And then after that, through the weekend, we have a little bit of a comeback after a 34-degree low on Friday. We have the 70s for the pick of the weekend on Saturday, rain increasing on Sunday, and then much cooler heading into next week. All right, one last look at our morning commute with Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. It's busy out there, but boy, it's going to be a beautiful day. We're looking at Clanton right there, I-77. I-77 just in general has been very messy this morning. Still following this accident here right before Remount Road. That's exit 8. That one is starting to clear, but we do have the secondary one right there still northbound at Tyvola Road. You'll want to keep both of those in mind if you're heading inbound on I-77. South Boulevard, an accident just reported right before Arrowwood Road. Take it easy.